Well, don't embarrass me now, eh?
Well, it's up to you to embarrass yourself. So, what's your name and where'd you grow up?
My name is George Hugginson. I grew up in Pointe-Claire, all on this street. 4 different houses. 85, 137, 134, and 87.
So, when was that first house bought, and who bought that house?
Well, my father bought the one. I think it was. Well, I was born in '34, so they didn't get the house to me. Maybe the house was there, but we didn't get it. I think 35, 36, something like that. You know.
Oh, so you weren't born here. You were born.
Well, yeah, I was born here, but we lived next door. Well, I was born in the Royal Vic Hospital.
Okay.
I weighed 4 pounds.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
In those days, that was something. My mother had cancer, but anyway.
She gave birth to you with cancer?
Yeah, well, it's cesarean section, yeah.
Wow.
Because my mother died when I was 6. My father died when I was 9. So, you know.
And so, what happened to the house?
Well, it was left to me. I have a half.
9-year-old.
Pardon?
As a 9-year-old.
Yeah. I have a half sister who was living in New Brunswick, and she came home when my mother was sick to look at and kept me after they all died. And the house, it was Crown Trust Company looked after it, and they sold it for $8,500 in those days.
So you were 9 when this...
When my father died, yeah.
And then, so what happened after that? You were...
Well, the house was rented a few times, and then my aunt bought it, and the Crown Trust took it over, because my aunt lived here, and my family lived there. This was her house, you know.
So your parents buy the house, you're all living there, your mother passes away when you were 6, then your father passes away when you're 9,
Yeah.
and then at that point, they sell the house.
No. Oh, no. A couple of years later, that's right. Because it was rented to different people, you know. When my aunt owned it, I think, it was rented to different people. You know?
Okay, so you kept it as a property.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit of an income.
But,
And so you moved in here.
no. From there to 137.
Who was at 137?
Well, my sister, who raised me, her future boyfriend was in Europe in the war. And when he came home in 1945, they got married right away, Chris. Within weeks, I think. And he moved in with us next door. Because my grandfather lived with us too. And then he built the house. It's my sister, at the corner of Windward and Coolbrys, the big white house.
Mm-hmm.
My brother-in-law built that. So, yeah, and then I moved there. I left there when I got married, when I was 23.
Mm-hmm. 23, that would have been 57.
1956.
56, you got married.
Because my daughter was born in 59, yeah. 57.
So then you move away. So what elementary school did you go to? You went to Cedar Park?
Cedar Park, sure.
So you did grades, kindergarten?
No, there was no kindergarten in those days. You went to grade 1, 6 years old or whatever, in the school bus. School bus was an old truck with a box on the back, and they painted it all red. And that was the school bus.
I'm surprised you didn't think it was the fire truck.
Well, yeah.
When did yellow become the trend?
That's true. Well, I guess.
It was red.
Yeah, they painted it red.
See, that's something you don't see from the newspaper pictures.
No.
Because it's all black and white.
That's true.
Yeah,
but
so
no,
it picked you up where? On the
Well,
Bolanis? No, wasn't it
no,
Bolanis?
there used to be a CNR station here. The CPR and the CNR.
On the other side.
well, right next to one another, really.
That's the south side.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
The CNR was a big. Before my time, there was an agent there and everything, but at my time, it was just a station. They only used half of it. The other half was kids who used to crawl underneath it and go up inside and play in there.
There was a hole in the floor.
Yeah, a trapdoor, like, you know. Yeah, but the school bus used to go, because the road from the highway came out, and it was a circle, and the bus would pick us up there. And
so this is what so grade 1 would have been 1940-ish.
yeah,
The highway was just built.
yeah.
The road was just
Because,
built.
well, it was just a single at first. There wasn't two lanes.
Was it one road that or two singles going both ways? It was a single
No.
and a single. Not even.
At first, it was just the one. I think I'm not.
I remember reading that.
Yeah.
Because I think they had to expedite it
Yeah,
because of the war to have it as
yeah,
a road to get goods back and forth because of the war. And then they built
yeah.
another lane.
Well, there were like, it got bigger. There was a Dairy Queen on the corner here and everything, you know.
yeah.
And between the tracks and what is now the highway, there was a house there. The Wheatleys, they had a little store, nice little store, and they had a big family. And then when they tore that down, one of the big real estate places put a place there. I forget that, because they moved it up to Beaconsfield, or moved the whole building. Beaconsfield or somewhere up that way. But
And so your house was on. Sorry, your house. So your bus stop was in that CNR station,
yeah,
which so
And-
they would have come off the highway, looped around.
no, come out Lakeside Avenue.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then later on in years, we got the bus at the corner of Cool Breeze and the highway.
Right.
You know,
And so were at Cedar Park the whole way through.
grade 1 to 8. But you know, like down just where the highway is now, there was what we called the clubhouse, the LACA Lakeside Amateur Citizens Association, and they used to hold teenage dances. And I still have the records, the old 78s. I still have
You
them.
gotta be careful with those.
Yeah, well, they're in, I got so many records I don't use anymore. You know?
Was the chalet in
Yeah.
Art Sege Park there? That was already there at that time.
Oh no,
No.
no. The guy across the street was the architect for that.
So
What was his name?
Pardon?
Across the street. What was his name?
Goyette.
so this are you still talking about pre-veterans homes era? Because
Yeah.
that's 46.
Yeah, well, I remember when they built it. I mean, because it was just farmers' field. The Cool Breeze ended where 195 is, and when they built the veterans' places, it was like a barracks. There were no trees. There was nothing. It was bleak. It's nice now, but I'm not sure. I don't know if I'm right in saying it. When they built those houses for the veterans, the small ones were 6,500 and the big ones were 8,500.
We can fact check.
We can.
And my brother-in-law, when he built his house, the corner of Cool Breeze and Windward,
Mhm.
I told you he built his house there. He paid $2 for the lots. Yeah, a double lot. He paid $2.
Wow.
Well, veteran, because he was a veteran, I guess.
So you were saying that the Vawa girls would come to this dance over
Well,
here?
we go and get them, of course. Not gentlemen, of course. But we all hung around together. We had a gang, a teenage gang,
Yeah.
you know.
What was your park like? Well, that's the thing. I guess there was so many open fields at that time, but
It was nothing.
but it was still like above where St. Louis is. That was privately owned farmland.
It was all
still,
farmland.
right?
We used to hunt there with our 22s.
Really?
Yeah.
Was the city dump there yet?
We used to hunt rats in the city dump. Oh, yeah, I've always had BB guns when we were smaller.
Yeah.
But when we got older, it was 20. And we used to in the terracotta, what is now the terracotta. We spent a lot of time in there. But it was different. It was 2 woods. Now it's all growing over to 1 wood.
Because when the factory was there, they didn't extend into the forest, right? It was just an open field, whereas now it's all grown in.
What do you mean, the brickyard?
Yeah. The brickyards would have been where the soccer field is now.
That was where they dug the clay.
Right.
And the brickyards was below, I guess. Because the train used to go in there to pick up the bricks.
So where City Works is now, that's probably where the
dump?
No. The dump was above
This way.
Steinberg's. Where
Yeah.
Steinberg's was.
Yeah,
just
maybe
above.
a little more this way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was amazing, yeah.
So the place that you would hang out with as a kid more would be, well, because this was a hill, right? Or where would you go tobogganing and stuff?
On this hill, on Mount Sunnyside, which the city calls Belmont Park. We always called it Mount Sunnyside.
Mount Sunnyside.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it. And was it pretty much like this?
The same as it is now.
Just cleared away like that.
Yeah.
Lots.
Well, between here and the next house, there used to be two other houses. The Sandersons and the DeFu. But
that's interesting how so Valwa was because I know the Valwa people are very Valwa. Like it was a very tight community over there. You know, a lot of people knew each other. But here, was it just? Did you feel more connected with south of the tracks, or because it was?
no,
just
we
one
were more
single
connected
road?
with the people, with the kids from Valwa.
Yeah, because you were like a little orphan road.
Well,
and there's nothing east
from
and
here,
west.
there was nothing between here and Broadview.
That's right.
And Donegal wasn't there.
Was it like a path or something?
No, you had to walk along the tracks.
Oh boy, I've read some articles about that.
Yeah, walk along the tracks to where Broadview is, and there was a path went down. That's where Donegal stopped. I don't even remember if it was called Donegal in those days.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
And then before that, Valwa Avenue or something like
Valwa
that.
Bay.
Something.
Oh, that, you mean that section?
Before they named it Donegani.
Oh, I don't know. But I think he was the first mayor of Pointe-Claire.
Well, he was early. He was 30 something.
Oh, yeah, at least.
Of the Valwa Country Club.
Oh, yeah. I remember when that burned down.
Oh yeah.
I was a little kid. But
What do you remember? You remember hearing?
I lived
about
next
it?
door.
You remember hearing about it, or?
I went in the bathroom and I looked out the bathroom window and you could see, because there's nothing there, right? I remember that.
What did you see?
Just flames. I mean, well, just a bright light, really, because it's a long way away. But that was a nice place, you know. And just this side of there, where Water Edge Avenue is, there was another boating club there.
There was another quite big edifice right there on the water too. Not in the water, but just all kind of on the water, right? It
Went out on the water because we used to sit there and fish. Because it
was a boardwalk or something that
went into disrepair. When I was a kid, it was, you know, as I say, we used to sit there and fish.
That one went back to, I think, to the 1800s. That one, I think that one
I
was
don't.
really old. It was older than the Country Club. Country Club was built in 22,
Oh yeah.
burnt down in 41, and the boating club or whatever it was called, Valwa Boating Club you're talking about, burnt down in 42.
Oh yeah.
The next year,
Yeah.
people were going insurance.
Well, there
crazy.
used to be a small. No, it was down here, where at the beach. There used to be a small yacht club there. The old house that sticks out on the Lakeshore Road, we used to go there and rent boats for shares for 50 cents. The old man used to rent boats.
Is that still the bay here? No.
Yeah.
So it's just on the eastern part of the bay. We're in front of the Maples.
Well, this side.
East or west of the Maples.
Well, be east, yeah. It's a 100, 200 years old house. Sticks right out on the Lakeshore Road. You got to go around.
So it's in between where that canoe club was and the Maples.
Oh, that's a long way. Wow.
Yeah. Okay.
Because our beach, we had a beach, was at the bottom of Lakeside Avenue. And the city used to come every year, dump sand down, spread it around. They built a pier, and 2 rafts every summer.
Jeez, I wonder if it's that one pier that.
Oh, it's just a little wooden thing
Yeah,
that
we
you
have a
walked
picture
out
of
on.
it. Yeah, we
Yeah,
need to have a
yeah,
picture
yeah.
of it.
What the that massive hotel that was there?
Yeah, I vaguely remember that.
Chateau Saint Louis.
Yeah,
Chateau Saint Louis.
that was down by Vawa Bay Avenue.
That was. It
Just-
would have been on where the CNR stations you're talking about.
yeah,
The Vawa one, you would have gotten off there, and then it was right there.
yeah, yeah. It was a big building. I have very vague recollection of that.
But I think it bordered onto where the 20 was going.
Yeah,
And so the owner died just before the crash.
oh yeah,
And then the heir to the hotel wasn't properly assigned. So the crash plus the management takeover wasn't properly assigned.
yeah.
Those two created the perfect disaster storm, and it never picked up after.
No, well, as I say, I was
28
born in '34, and it was still there then.
Yeah, yeah. So, it may have even been shut down at that point.
Oh, without a doubt. I
Built
mean,
in '09, I think.
Yeah.
It was built in '09.
no kidding.
Yeah.
My God.
I have a video of it. Maybe one day I'll come by. I'll put it on your TV. I did a whole history about the Chateau Saint Louis.
Oh God.
Who built it? When he built it?
Yeah, because as I say, I don't remember. I vaguely remember the building,
Right.
and then of course we had the big when the train jumped the tracks here too, in Vawa. See, freight train. There was people, you know, when there's a thing like that, they run down and take anything that's
Yeah.
there.
Right.
People were running around with boxes of socks. It took off when the cars opened up. And I seem to recall there was a refrigerator car or something because people were running around with little salmons and stuff like that.
So that happened probably around 50 or 51.
I guess. I was still, well, of course, I was still going to school. I didn't graduate till, yeah, I did. I graduated in 51, 52 from Montreal West. Everybody used to run to get the train, and sometimes they were late. And a guy, I think his name was White, I'm not sure, jumped on the back of the milk truck. And it didn't get across, and the train hit it. Killed him, of course. But it was the biggest omelet you ever saw. You know?
The amount of car accidents reported in the Lakeshore News in the
Yeah.
50s blows my mind.
With trains, yeah.
Yeah, trains at St. John's, at Cool Breeze had a
Yeah.
crossing,
And
then
Vawa,
Vawa had a crossing.
Vawa Bay, yeah.
So what I imagine happened is that last train accident that happened at Vawa was the last straw for the city
Closing everything.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. So I think because it coincides around the same time.
Because there was a bell, you know, that rang when the train was coming. You know, ding, ding, you know. But I don't know, you guy was trying to catch the train, I guess.
And there was nothing that closed like this.
No, just a bell in the middle of the road that rang
Would it always ring?
when the train came, yeah.
Because I heard from some people a little younger than you that when they did put these in St. John's, sometimes they would get stuck.
I don't remember.
So I'm trying to think where we were. So you graduated grade 8,
To Montreal West.
and then
Well, actually, in those days, there wasn't a graduation. You just stopped there and you started there. That was the thing,
seamless.
you know. But I still remember all the teachers and that sort of thing, you know. But it was a good little school.
Was Stockwell there at the time?
He was the principal. He's the one that gave me the biffs
No
to
kidding.
get the strap, you know.
Stockwell's son is one of the guys who I've interviewed.
Aye.
I went to high school with Ivan Stockwell's granddaughter.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
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 And I knew her dad well because
Funny, principal, we used to take our lunch. And we weren't allowed to eat our lunch until he came in and said grace in the classroom in Latin. And that's Protestant school, don't forget.
interesting. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, how much because by the time I was in school, there was nothing religious in school at that
No.
by that point. But at your time, there was still religious affiliation.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. I don't remember whether, no, it didn't say the Lord. It used to sing God Save the King or something when it started, you know. Yeah, it was a good school. Much half the size of what it is now, of course. Just a little. And behind that, there was another little old wooden schoolhouse that my brother-in-law went to when his family was one of the first ones on Coolbreeze, Kenworthy family. And he went to that school. And when I was in the Cubs, we used to hold our Cub meetings there. You know, and the Boy Scouts we held at the clubhouse down here.
Where did you go to the movies?
In those days, Pointe-Claire Theatre.
Pointe-Claire Theatre, which is close to Cartier and...
Well, it's across, it used to, well, yeah. We used to, as teenagers, there were no cars around. We used to take the bus. The old provincial transport came along the Lakeshore Road. And on Sunday afternoons, we'd get it at 1 o'clock, go up to the bowling alley across the street, bowl a string, and go into the movie. And you could buy your tickets to come home at Lagasse's Bakery in Pointe-Claire. But that was the first theater was St. Anne's, the Rex Theater. It's where I saw my friend Flecka or something. I don't remember what the hell it was, but yeah.
I think as early as the 30s, that theater opened.
In St. Anne's?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I would say so.
St. Anne's, so at that time, was St. Anne's quite a lot bigger than Pointe-Claire would have been? Or?
I don't remember.
No, eh? Because it seems bigger, like just even
Well,
today.
Pointe-Claire, there was not, this was the only street above the tracks. You know, it was like there was St. Anne's, Beaurepaire, Beaconsfield, Cedar Park, Vawa, Lakeside, Strathmore, Pine Beach, Dorval. You know, and the train stopped at all of them, depending on which one you took. Coming home, I think the 519 first stop was Vawa, and the 523 stopped at every stop. So
you moved out in 56, I think you said.
yeah, well, I got 58, 58, I think. When I got 58, I got married and moved to Côte-de-Nation.
So, when would you say that Pointe-Claire really started to boom, like the development?
Oh God.
Because when you were a kid, it was pretty stagnant.
Oh, it was real country. People from town used to come out and say, "You live here in the winter? How can you live here in the winter?" You know, my God, crazy. It was great, but there were no snowblowers around. They plowed the streets, and there was no salting. The old truck came along with a guy in the back throwing sand out on the streets.
These are the guys that didn't graduate from high school.
And of course, the police station was in the village. We only had 4 cops, and I think 2 cars or 1 car, and no radios. And when we would get in trouble, the way the cops would signal the cars would flick the streetlights. So when the streetlights went, you knew it was time to take off.
Where was the street light?
No, every streetlight on the street.
Oh, the street lights.
Yeah,
Oh.
they used to,
flicker them.
yeah, signal the cops, and we'd,
Who would flicker them? Where was that?
well, whoever, the police station or whoever in the village,
Oh, okay.
you know?
So you're talking about when you were a kid now.
Oh, yeah,
When you
yeah.
were a kid.
But, well, when I was a kid, Pointe-Claire, where the police station is, and then, of course, the next building used to be the post office, I think, eh? And on the top, there was a big siren. And at 9 o'clock, the siren went. 16-year-olds under had to go home. It was a curfew. People don't believe that, but it's true.
No
Why?
kidding.
Why
Yeah.
was there a curfew?
Just to get us off the streets, I guess. I don't really know.
Just,
We didn't get in trouble the way they do today. You know, I mean, you caused mischief, but you didn't cause damage or get in trouble or, you know.
So when you were a kid, the shoreline was still a great natural resource to this whole area, right?
Well, there were
water-
beaches all the way along.
How big would the beach have been? Because I can't even visualize.
Oh,
what you're
not,
talking
not,
about.
not very big. Maybe 50 yards, if that. But
And width.
30 feet. Because the road goes down there, right? There were steps going down. And we used to go in the bushes and change, you know.
You can get a fine for going.
No, well, not in those days. And then you got poison ivy every year. Every bloody year. All I have to do is look at a poison ivy plant and I get it. And I worked for 20 years up until 5 years at Gulf Dorval. And I caught it every year at Gulf Dorval. I got poison ivy.
What? So when you were a kid, changing in the bushes,
Yeah,
and even now,
I still get.
you should check because you might be eligible for the Guinness Book of World Records for the most.
Well, we all got it because you go in and you throw your bathing suit down and be in the poison ivy or whatever. And you got it in some very interesting places.
That's
I'll
what I was
tell
just gonna say. God,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
that's awful.
And there was there was a lot of things going on down by the clubhouse I told you about. Every year they held a tombola. You know what a tombola is?
Yeah.
It's like a country fair type of thing. Used to have spinning wheels and bingo and all that kind of stuff. And
where exactly was this? Because it
well,
they
Cool
said it
Breeze, go down Cool Breeze over the tracks, and it's just to the left of Cool Breeze. I don't think maybe the highway took that away. I'm not sure.
Was this the one that was sponsored or put on by the Kingsmen?
No,
The Kinsmen.
Kinsman was Pointe-Claire.
Where the filtration plant ended up.
Yeah,
That park there.
yeah. I
Okay,
think,
so tell me about, because we have so many advertisements. I've seen so many advertisements about this fair, and it went on for years.
oh, they had, and 1 week it would be here, the next week it would be in Vawa Park. You know, but it was a little cute. They had fish pond for the kids and bingo and crown and anchor, throwing balls at things, you know, and maybe 10 booths, you know, but
It must have been big in those days, the talk of the town for months.
true. Oh, Christ, and we used to go down, like, they were in enclosures, and they used to hang burlap, of course, to close it in, and we'd go down the next morning and go along the edge and pick up coins that people would drop, you know.
Accidentally.
Oh, well, you get 10 cents in those days, it was good.
And that fair ran, in your earliest memory, that fair would have been?
Oh, yeah, when I was, well, teenager, early teens, you know. Yeah.
So is most of this stuff, because when things started booming with like the baby boom, when that happened,
Yeah.
did you notice that things were changing in Pointe-Claire? Like, because you got the veterans homes, then you got the McGill development.
That's here, yeah.
and
All the McGill homes.
all of this here as well.
Yeah, they were all McGill
The
homes.
plaza goes in, and you know,
Yeah, that was in the 50s, yeah.
what was that like? That landscape.
Well, it was a big deal for a kid. You like to go and watch that, eh? The big bulldozers and everything, you know. I remember them doing Lakeside Heights like that. But and of course the plaza was a big deal. Well, I think Dorval was it was before the plaza here. I don't know when it was. It was one of the first ones in
56,
Canada.
56.
56. Up until the pandemic, I used to go once a week and meet all my buddies from the golf course and have coffee in the morning, once a week, and at the mall, at the
Food court.
fruit court. Yeah,
Yeah,
food
yeah,
court.
yeah.
Yeah. And when Fairview was built, my in-laws lived here with us, and we used to go every Saturday morning and have breakfast in the little restaurant, and shop at Steinberg's. Yeah, because it was Steinberg's here, but we always went there. It was big, you know. Nothing like a Walmart or something today, but there was no stores like that.
It was all mainly mom and pop stuff.
Yeah. A good little store was on Vawa Bay Avenue, just below what is now the highway, you know, was a little soft drinks and that kind of stuff. Was owned by Joe Valois. Yeah.
The last Vawa.
Maybe his little old lady mother used to help, you know, serve stuff. And below there, at the corner, there was a hot dog stand that used to be a bus. And the Legault family, who owned the whole of Pointe-Claire at one time, they ran that. And across the street was Hyduck's shoe shop. Old Mike Hyduck. And then he moved across the tracks and he died and his son Eddie took it over.
We have pictures. I'm not sure if it's the corner of Milroy and Lakeshore or Vawa and Lakeshore.
Well, that's where the Green Hornet was at the Milroy.
Yeah, and it looks like a farmer's market. And I think it was called Bromers?
I don't know.
No,
The Green Hornet Tavern was the first one out here. And there where the apartments here are, there used to be a house. Family by the name of Gray. He had a son and 2 or 3 daughters. And Alec and I hung around together. And every Saturday morning, old Pop Gray would take me and Alec to the Green Hornet, and we'd have one draft. I think we were about 15 at the time. 15, 16 maybe.
Was there a drinking age at that time?
Sure.
There would have been a drinking age.
But out here, Christ, I went to the Maples when I was 14. You know?
Did you go to at that point it was still coming off the swing golden years because it kind of revitalized itself during the swing years in the 40s. Like it was a hip place again, you know?
Oh, well,
before it got dirty in the 70s.
Yeah. The Maples was our hangout. And then the Edgewater was a little more classy. And we used to go out, teenagers, well, 18, whatever, little younger sometimes. And we used to go out and go to the Maples. And I guess you didn't know it, you were never in the Maples. But down the far side of it, there was what we used to call the beer garden, which was just a long hall we used to go there and have a couple of quarts, you know, 60 cents a quart. And then go from there to what you know as the Pioneer, but in our day it was the Pointe-Claire Hotel, Chegnier's, because they had a 9 o'clock show. You know, a little stripper and that sort of thing.
You're kidding.
Oh, no. Oh, that was a big deal.
Like a burlesque or like a stripper?
A stripper, yeah.
Because burlesque would have been, maybe
would
have been at the Edgewater because it's more classic.
Yeah, no, I was at the Edgewater twice in my life. And I've lived here all those years. And from there, after the show, we'd whip out to Larry Moka Hotel in Sedan de Bellevue and watch another show.
You mean you take the bus or you had a car at that?
No, we had cars in those days.
Okay. What year would you give this?
Well, I got my car when I was 21. So, you know, my first car, brand new, 1956 Meteor.
So by the mid-50s, rock and roll started to get popular.
Oh, yeah.
Were you into that scene at all, or were you more a jazz guy?
Well, I've been jazz all my life.
Okay.
But,
which era is...
Anything.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Well, not the modern stuff. I don't know.
No.
But, there used to be...
I stopped at around 65, 66.
Yeah, but there used to be a program when I was a teenager every Saturday morning called Jazz at Its Best. And I always had to listen to that, you know. Oh, yeah.
Is like the bebop stuff or the...
Before. I mean, I like the old big band stuff. That's what I like. I got a lot of that stuff. Errol Garner was my favorite piano player. But, no, and of course the Maples had a good band, a big band, you know.
So when you say Edgewater, you mean before it became a club, when it was still like a hotel that would look
Well, it was both.
Yeah, but it was the original hotel-looking structure, because then it turned into this box.
Yeah, well, when DeVito owned it, I think it was before that. Because my wife and daughter used to go down, they had a pool. My wife and daughter used to go down there and lay in the sun, yeah. And I worked there. I forgot. After I lost my job from the printing company, and I worked in the dance hall part, I guess. I was the banquet counselor. I still have my card. Oh yeah, and the guy that owned his name was Henry, German fella, and we belonged to the same golf club. And his wife used to rule him with an iron hand, you know.
So by the time you came back to Pointe-Claire, I'm sure a lot had changed just in the few years that you left.
Yeah, but I never left because my sister left here, and I used to come and visit all the time.
Okay. So did you vote in the municipal elections?
When I was 21. Oh, municipal. I'm not sure.
Because in '54...
You have to be a landowner to vote in the municipal election.
Oh, okay. So then
I
the
didn't.
kids couldn't have voted even
No.
if they were in
No.
their 20s.
No, you got to be a landowner. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So that means only your father could have voted? Not your mother, but your father.
Well, my father, I don't know. I
Oh,
was.
it's true, he passed away.
They both.
So because in '54, Olive Urquhart
Yeah, sure.
became mayor.
The first lady mayor. Yeah.
Do you remember that era at all when she became mayor?
Yeah, vaguely. The first mayor I remember was a guy named Mann on Lakeside Avenue. That was a lot. Because the streets were just streets, you know, with gutters down the side. Used to burn your leaves in the fall, you know, rake your leaves in the gutter and burn them, you know.
What about the ditches?
Pardon?
Because in the old maps you see, before the rain runoff was in the sewers, there was ditches and gorges all over.
Behind this, it runs through the terracotta now, and it run right and down to the lake. And every year, it used to overflow, and all the houses below here would flood. And as kids, we used to take the rink boards and go around with our scout staffs, like rafts. Yeah.
In the creek?
No, in the whole area, it was all water.
Were they deep, the ditches?
No, but the city used to come and build a boardwalk so that people from the train could get up, and they could walk up the boardwalk over the water.
Where were the big ones?
The big.
The big ditches, the big creeks.
Well, that one was the biggest one I know.
And you said it was only about like this?
The water was, no, it's as deep as this. But the water around the area here was only that deep. But, of course, as kids, we used to go down by the tracks and block it to make a bigger flood. You know?
Were you cubs or beavers?
Right. Oh, it was really something. My aunt, they lived first house down from the apartments. And she used to get water, oh Christ, that deep in her basement, you know?
What about the one in Valois? There was a big one in Valois.
I don't remember. I know there was a creek, but I don't, like here it went down, well, the sad thing, we used to play in the creek, eh? And family lived up the street here. The young boy fell in and drowned. They found his body in the lake. He went down. Was, you know, and then after that they put a grate over the entrance to the creek here. Yeah.
And there was little pedestrian bridges that went over the creek, or?
Yes, because there was a riding school, eh? The farm was there, right? When I was a kid, it was a riding school, 50 cents an hour to ride a horse.
So when did they start putting sewers to replace the ditches?
I don't remember. The sewers were there when I was a kid. But they all said town of Pointe-Claire, not city of Pointe-Claire. on that cap, you know? Town of Pointe-Claire, because there was no city then. We had a few plane crashes, though.
Oh, yeah, there was one on
Just
the Hymus area.
Well, that was a mosquito. But the one in Vawa, We were at, that was the name of the plane.
Oh, I thought you were just saying because it was small.
No, they were made out of wood
Oh,
during the war. And the one in Vawa, we were at Cedar Park School at recess. And the plane come over and the kid says, oh, look at the plane with flares on its engines. And it was on fire, right? And he was trying to make the airport, but he didn't make it. Of course, it wasn't built up then. He just got over King's Road and he hit. I had a piece of it. I don't remember whatever happened to it.
I think it landed on Donegany or whatever the
No.
Dorval. No, where did it land?
The other side of, you know where King's Road is?
Yeah.
It was all field. Just, he made it over the houses and then he hit. And I was a kid, when I was growing up, it was country and it was fun and you never locked the door. You know, there was no grocery stores, eh? The only grocery store was La Plante in the village. And we would phone La Plante, give our order, and they would deliver it. And you'd leave the money on the counter and go out, and the guy would come in the back door, put your groceries in the icebox, you know, and take the money off the table, leave the change, and go his way. Because today nobody would leave a door open. My God. And of course you had the milkman in those days and the baker. I worked with the baker when I was a little kid. But no, Wonder Bread, yeah, that's what it was.
Oh, so it's still around today.
Yeah, and the other one was Palm Bakery.
Still around today also.
I don't know. I know Wonder Bread is.
Yeah.
But of course they don't deliver it. And Elmhurst Dairy. And in Vawa, just the other side of where the station is now, was the ice house. Lago. Well, everything it owned. But that's where they used to cut the ice in the lake, eh? For the ice boxes, eh? And store it in there, covered all with straw and sawdust, and sell it all summer. And we used to, when the ice guy come, we'd run behind the truck and break off little bits of ice to suck on in the hot weather, you know. And they used to cut the ice out there, and the blocks were that deep, you know, and they used to pull them out with horses, you know, and put them on trucks.
In the bay?
Yeah, in Vawa Bay, yeah. And sometimes the horses would fall through, they fall in the ice, and you'd have to pull them out, you know. Oh, it was, we'd bowl. Vawa Bowling Alley was there then, believe it or not. And in those days, everybody belonged to a bowling league. You know, I bowled in town, I bowled there, till my wife come along, and she bowled better than me, so I quit. But, no.
And you used to swim in the...
Oh, yeah.
Because I heard that the water was crystal clear in those days.
I've sailed in that lake, put a cup over the side and drunk it many times. But in the St. Lawrence part, you know the lake is split down the middle. In the St. Lawrence half, many times. Because we used to sail from the Sea Scout base. You know, you knew about the Sea Scout base. Where the boating club was at the bottom of Water Edge Avenue, just this side. Well, where they built the new, that was the Sea Scout base. And they had all the boats, and the Sea Scouts with uniform, and they had tents, and they used to come and stay there in the summer. And they had a swimming pool too. And they used to have, we used to sail, I wasn't a member, but we sail in the boat. We used to go across to the other side, and one group sailed to Ottawa. And, no, that was a good little place. Of course, the guys coming there came from the city, and this was the country, eh?
Yeah.
My God.
So do you remember when the water started to, when they started to say...
I guess after the Seaway, maybe. A lot of fun out here in those days.
And the ice skating was on the bay as well?
Well, the city had rinks. Like, they have a rink in Vawa there. Well, we had one here just this side of Coolbridge at the tracks. There was one there. And before that, it was below the tracks. And you used to flood it ourselves. Got out of, because it was just a little wooden stove in the middle of it. And of course, to play, skate or play, you had to plow the rink. And before you could play hockey, you had to go down and plow one rink board, you know. And everybody did that. I remember playing hockey, you know, shinny, they called it, yeah.
What is it?
Shinny.
Oh, shinny.
Everybody does their own little thing with the. And there was a guy there, his name was Eddie, and he kept going behind the goal, and he had a 7-Up bottle, having a drink of 7-Up. I thought, Christ, I'm going to have some. So I went and took it, and it was dry gin.
You took a big swig?
Geneva, yeah, Geneva gin.
Oh.
Christ, I thought I was going to die. Because we were young then, you know.
Oh, must have burnt your whole sarcophagus.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God.
God. And they used to hold carnivals, you know, ice carnivals and that sort of thing. And of course I played minor hockey, you know, pee-wee midget with magazines, no uniforms or nothing. You got a sweater, you were bloody lucky. Same with the baseball, when we played baseball.
How many magazines for your shin bones?
Yeah.
Will you tape them or?
Well, put them inside socks, you know, and tape too, you know.
How spoiled we've become.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, look at
Is it because there was no money or it just wasn't available?
No, we didn't have money. We had no money in those days. Christ.
Where would you have bought them anyways? You'd have to go in town for that stuff?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
But, no. We used to, and the big deal was when you went and played in Lachine Arena. Oh my God, it was like playing in the Montreal Forum. We always lost, but it was fun, you know.
What was the name of your team here?
I don't remember.
But Valois had another team.
Oh yeah, everybody. I played mostly against Pointe-Claire, Clear Point, I guess, in those days. Now it's Clear Point, but it used to be Pointe-Claire before they changed it all.
And how did you know the name Emberg? Where'd you know the name Emberg from?
The baseball in Valois that I told you about, the league in that, well, one of the teams was run by Herbie Enberg, and his brother Eddie Enberg, he played for the team, and he was a good hockey player, a really good hockey player. But yeah, and they were the team from Johnson's Drugstore, which was at the corner, you know, of Valois Bay there.
That carnival that they used to have on Cool Breeze here, did it stop because of the development that happened?
I guess, because I mean, it was there when I was 16 maybe, but then it disappeared, you know.
Did you ever go to the one in Pointe-Claire Village?
Oh, we went to them all. You never missed one, Christ. That was something. Well, it was on for, I don't know, maybe a week, you know. So you went, as I told you, we used to go and pick up the change along the edge of the thing.
What would you do with the money? What was...
Oh, we'd go to Joe Valois store in Valois, buy an Orange Crush. The old brown rib bottles, Orange Crush. And probably an ice cream or two, I don't remember.